You ready for this deal, Jimbo?
Fire in the hole.
Listen to this guy.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, located right here in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, it's old Cody over here. And as always, I got my main man with me, Mr. Rodeo historian himself, Jimbo Snively. Good morning, Jimbo. Good to see you. Who do we have on today?
Hey, Cody boy. Good morning to you, and it's another great day in the Osage. And Cody, you know we got Memorial Day weekend coming up, and you know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Will Rogers Stampede, Claremore, Oklahoma, 77th annual.
Wow.
Claremore Will Rogers Stampede. That's a long time, 77 years.
It's a long time to keep anything going.
You know, and that's really a nice rodeo, one of the best in the country. In fact, it was voted 6 times, was picked as the small rodeo of the year. And last year, it was among 5 nominees for medium-sized rodeo of the year across the nation. So we're talking about a big-time rodeo.
It's getting bigger and better, sounds like.
Right. And also, and it goes from the 25th to the 28th, May. And then on the 27th, they're having a PRCA steer roping in conjunction with the PRCA rodeo. A 3-head, 3 go-arounds, $42,000 purse.
All the best. The top 50 is going to be there, plus everybody else.
Richest steer roping in Oklahoma.
They named it after the great Clem McSpadden.
It's called the Clem McSpadden Tub Handle Ranch.
We got to ask him more about the name of this deal.
Right. And they're also going to have a match roping between Scott Spencer and J. Tom Fisher.
I can't wait.
$5,000 winner take all. So it's going to be a big deal. And I think we're going to be over there for the steer roping. Not roping, though.
No, we're not roping, luckily.
That ship sailed a long time ago.
You know, to me, Jimbo, when you're watching a roping, how come it always looks a lot easier when you're watching and you know what people did wrong and stuff?
Yeah, especially after you got old and quit.
Yeah.
It really got easy then.
Oh, yeah. It's a good thing we're not in it.
Well, and you forget why you quit. You quit because you couldn't win, and then you want to get back started.
Because it looks too easy to us.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, we've got the chairman of the rodeo committee, David Petty. We got his main man, co-chairman, Marshall Perkins, and we're going to discuss all of that. Guys, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
Thank you, Jimbo.
Thanks for having us.
Nice to be here.
Good
Super duper glad to have y'all, for sure.
Wow, 77 years. Was there any breaks in there?
Not that I'm aware of.
The COVID year?
The only one was COVID.
Yeah, that got about everybody.
Which, of course, we all know that affected the majority of PRCA rodeos.
Right. It got the biggest. Cheyenne.
Got Cheyenne.
Got Ben Johnson. So that's nothing to be ashamed of.
As far as I know, that's the only year that that didn't happen in Claremore. That, you know, it started in 1946, that the original Saddle Club, and they've had an RCA rodeo ever since.
What's made it stand the test? Because there's been a lot of rodeos come and gone. You know, Pawhuska has had them over the years at different times. What's made Claremore last that long, in your opinion?
You know, just good families, I think, that actually started that. You know, the old-time cowboy culture was pretty prominent. You know, it was nothing for the original Saddle Club. They used to load up and go to Pikes Peak and take a train load of horses out there for the parade. They went to Baton Rouge. They went to Dallas back in the 50s. You know, and it was a roundup club, and of course, you know, you had 200 people that were doing it, and they were rodeoing, and so you just get a good bunch of volunteers to help out with things like that, and it's just the longevity of it has just lasted. Of course, it's Will Rogers' name, you know, and in his hometown of Claremore, and so it's come a long ways. It was really big, you know, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then of course with the urban cowboy craze in the 80s, it kind of came back, and everybody knows that the dance over at Claremore, Oklahoma probably saved the rodeo many, many years. So it's just, and then kind of through the 90s died off, and electronics and all the kids with softball and baseball and soccer, you know, is a little bit different culture, but it's rodeo in general is making a big comeback, you know, just with the addition of technology like this right here, and then, you know, of course the Rural Media Group getting pro rodeos on TV and things like that. So
yeah, Cowboy Channel and I think Yellowstone,
Yeah.
TV show Yellowstone.
Yellowstone sold a lot of hats.
Sure has.
Jimbo, I've been to that dance they have over at Claremore, but I don't remember
I was
anything
gonna ask
about
if
it.
you remember
Can you
anything
believe
about
that?
it.
I bet I made some memories for some other people, though.
You don't remember golf carts getting drove in there or anything?
I don't remember
like that?
anything. I don't remember anything.
Horses on the dance floor.
Nope. Nothing's coming back.
I might have to do a little investigating on those years back in the 90s.
But there's people there remember Cody.
when Cody
whether he
was-
remembers them or not, they remember him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you, Jimbo. I've made a lot of memories for people
Right.
that I don't remember. It's the dangest thing.
Somebody's got to do it.
I think the funniest night I remember over there at the old dance hall is Robbie was there and he had those sumo suits. I've told it probably 10,000 times the story, but the old Alan Thomas used to ride saddle bronc horses, and Cody Heflin, team roper, both multi-time state champion wrestlers, and they're in the sumo suit in the wrestling match, and they might have wiped out about 3/4 of the crowd before they finally determined that Cody Heflin come out on top on that deal.
Yeah, I've seen those sumo suits. They do it like at big football games and stuff, Jimbo.
Right,
They'll have
right.
someone strap on
Right.
the big sumo suit. I can only imagine a couple of guys like that tearing that place up. Holy moly. You know, Will Rogers, he has some connection to Osage County here. One time, Pawhuska right here, they said there's this great comedian and trick roper and blah, blah, blah. They wanted him to come to Pawhuska for a big celebration. And he wanted, I don't know, something like $45 or some crazy thing to come. And they told him no. They had someone else come, and that guy ended up being Will Rogers.
Told
Yeah.
Will Rogers no.
Yeah, they told Will Rogers no. And his two favorite horses came from right here, old Soap Suds and Bootlegger from the Carter family.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. Barton Carter sold him one, and Red Carter sold him the other, and that's G.R. Carter's uncles, great
I did
uncles.
not know.
No,
I did not
Ray
know
Carter's
that.
GR's grandfather.
Yeah, his grandfather and the other one's his great uncle.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The actual logo for the Will Rogers Stampede and the Will Rogers Roundup Club is that iconic picture of Will kind of looking over his shoulder on Soap Suds. And so I kind of use that as a little trivia question every now and then, asking, you know what that horse's name is? And, you know, and not very many people really know that.
Right.
You know, I've always wondered down there in Lubbock at the big university, they have a big bronze of Will Rogers sitting on Soap Studs. I just wondered what the connection is there. Do you know?
No, I couldn't tell you that, Cody. I do not know.
I think those dang Texans are trying to claim one of our greatest Okies as one of their own, Jimbo.
Yeah,
That's what I'm getting the feeling
He's
on.
named. They've got coliseums named after him, stuff all over the
Oh,
country.
yeah.
You know, he was just that popular.
He was mayor of Beverly Hills for a long time, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he
Well,
was.
you know, he has the big ranch out in California, and I'm not sure. I think it's still open. You can tour it and stuff like that.
Plus, that was your favorite movie too. Will Rogers was in.
Roping Fool,
Broken
yeah.
Fool, right.
Yeah, I bought a hamster from Walmart, and because you know he ropes a mouse in there, and I thought I was going to practice my mouse roping.
Were you want to be the roper or the fool?
I was both, Jimbo. Roping fool. But anyway, yeah, the hamster got out. My mom's definitely afraid of mice, and next thing I know, she's screaming at the top of her lungs and saying there's a paint rat in the in there. And I got a little leery of the booger, too, by the time I went up there after the way my mom was screaming about him, Jimbo. I was leery to deal with the guy.
It doesn't take much to get you leery anyway.
But I had me a practice hamster there for a while. I was roping him. Got out, scared my mom to death. My mom got me scared of him, too, the way she's acting. It was the craziest thing you ever saw.
You roping hamsters. I'm surprised you don't have a flea circus in here now.
Yeah. Well, it's in the back. You know, Will Rogers has a connection to Osage County. Someone else at this table does too, Jimbo. Old David.
Really?
Yeah, he's an OC boy right here.
Oh, Osage County, yeah.
Yes,
right.
sir.
Absolutely. Western Osage
God, I hope
County.
you haven't done a whole lot of investigating.
Oh, we've got the whole story right here somewhere.
That was my brother.
We knew you was a pretty good fella.
He grew up over there by the Williamses.
Yeah,
And,
all right. That's cowboy country over there.
Ainzingers.
On this side of the river.
Did you know Bob Wagner over there? Bob
Oh, yeah.
Wagner?
Well, I didn't know him. I mean, I know who it is. I didn't personally know him, no.
Boy, howdy. Jake had a lot of good stories on him and Bob rodeoing back in the day.
All right.
For sure. That was a great podcast. I'd say everyone needs to go back and re-listen to that one. Jake and
Yeah,
J.
that's a
Paul
good one.
Williams.
Jake, I literally just basically grew up right across the road from Jake and Joanne's cattle lot. They're right there on the old Highway 60.
All right.
And Jake tied my first bull rope. I thought I was going to be a bull rider. About 12 years old or so.
Shoot the
Glad
Davises.
you grew out of that, aren't you?
Jim Davis.
It didn't take real long to grow out of that, Jimbo.
Right.
Jim Davis and his dad, they were from that area.
Yes.
Yep.
Merle.
Merle,
Braden's.
the Bradens. God, there's a lot. There are so many good cowboys. 101 Ranch was just right there,
I know.
right
That's
there
cowboy
across the
country, for
line.
sure.
Lots of great cowboys from that area.
Barry Braden and Bucky and all
Bucky.
them. I went to school with them. Bucky's a little older. Barry's actually a year older than I am, but I think he's. I'm going to say Barry's at least 60 now because I know how old I am.
We're all getting up there. Time's flying.
Right. Wow. What's the hardest part about putting on a rodeo like that?
You know, Jimbo, it doesn't just happen.
Right. Sure.
It a lot of folks with rodeo and I know you guys know this, but a lot of folks just think the rodeo has come to town. You know,
and they bring everything you need to make it
kind of
happen.
like the
Yeah.
circus.
Right.
But I think one of the things that has helped us is the fact that I've had some good mentors and I've had some great help. You know, you have to have some volunteers. You have to have people that you can rely on to get things done. I've said it a million times. I'd rather have somebody tell me they can't do something as to tell me you're going to do it and then it not get done. Right. But working on a rodeo of this caliber is a year-long process. I serve on a couple of boards in the PRCA, and I've been very active in that for about the last 25 years, 23 years. But like kind of going back to having some mentors, and Clem was a mentor, and Bob Morton and his wife Alice were over the Roundup Club for many years, and many over the rodeo, and I've always looked up to those people. My dad was quite a bit older than I was when I came into the world, and so deep respect for the knowledge that's been there, and then the other thing is, you know, getting good help. And I can honestly say bringing Marshall on board 7 or 8 years ago, taking a load off of me of seeing that these are done, and when he's doing something, I know it's handled.
Well, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders right there, Marshall.
I don't know about that. I
Hope you
think
don't mess
everybody-
nothing up next week
Right,
now,
right.
Jimbo, after all
We didn't
that.
speak too soon.
Well, here's the deal. I've always said when it goes wrong, they blame me. When it goes right, it's everybody else that did it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. You know, I've been there as a contestant, and it's always been a great rodeo to go to as a contestant. For about as long as I can remember, you know, I think it's one of the first rodeos in Oklahoma, Jimbo, that offered a free hospitality meal and, you know, something to drink for all the contestants that came. And that was always very much appreciated as a contestant, you know, going down the road. You know, they thought enough of us to give us that. Do y'all still have that going, David?
You bet. We have a fantastic hospitality. We have a gal by the name of Linda that takes care of it, Linda Caffey, and my mother-in-law used to take care of that before she's passed, and did it for years. So Linda has picked up and continued that tradition. And you know, we feed everybody. If they're a contestant, we feed them. You know, we try to. Though they're going up and down the road, they don't get good home cooked meals, and it's just way better than trying to stop at McDonald's or something like that in every city. You know, there's some things that make your rodeo stand out a little bit. I think that's hospitality and even, you know, just the hospitality of our town of Claremore. You know, 700 plus contestants this year. The last 10 years, we've been averaging well over 500 contestants. And for a small rodeo back, you know, 7-8 years ago when it was $1,500 an event, and you're still getting that kind of participation from our contestants, there's a reason why they're coming to Claremore. And I think hospitality, the fact that our rodeo, you know, we have every event. We've been equal money through everything. It's just a pretty fair contest in all the events.
And, you know, it's been going on around the same time for so long. You know, it's just a must stop on that week if you're in the rodeo trail. I think it's a great location for a rodeo town, honestly. You know, you're close to Missouri, you're close to Arkansas, you're in a perfect place in Oklahoma to draw all the greats from Oklahoma. You know, you're not far from Texas. You're not far from Kansas. You know, it just seems like a great place to draw a lot of great cowboys and cowgirls from a lot of regional areas to me. And with the money you're adding now, you're drawing a lot of elite cowboys, it seems like, you know, on top of all your regional and circuit cowboys, for sure. And, yeah, we just got to tip your hats to you guys as just rodeo people to see how far that rodeo's come in the last few years, for sure.
I just saw on the flyer that entertainment started at 7 and the rodeo started at 8. What are we talking about there?
We have pre-rodeo entertainment, and Marshall, step in here and talk. You can talk. I know you can.
Oh, man, the pre-rodeo, I mean, they'll have the mutton busting and all that stuff will start at 7. Try to get everybody in, give them something to kind of watch, hang out, get something to eat before everything gets going.
The gates actually open at 6, and then like Marshall said, we have Kelly Corbin.
Oh yeah, we know him.
Pawhuska man,
one of the greats from around here.
I'm not trying to be a big name dropper or anything, but I am in Pawhuska. So he's always giving me heck about these little Facebook posts and stuff that we make about. I made a post here a while back about Claremore, Oklahoma, you know, no qualifiers, just contest or something like that. He's not going to let me forget that.
I know. He done brought it up to me, too. Told me he was giving you a hard time about it.
So our first qualifier for Claremore is actually the mutton busting.
Oh, okay.
So we have a local church there over at Talala, and they host our mutton busting qualifier. And what we do is we do that about 3 to 4 weeks out in front of the rodeo, and we get our kids signed up, get that out of the way, and let them come, and they get on a sheep. That way we find out, okay, are they going to get on, for one thing, when it comes time for the rodeo at Claremore, and then the other thing is you've already got them, and you've got little Johnny and little Susie talking about they're going to be in the rodeo for 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time instead of just coming to the rodeo and signing up.
For sure. And it's a little more prestigious. I mean, it's real exciting for the family, too, to think about it for the whole time.
And their grandparents, they'll all be there.
Yeah, everyone's going to. Well, just like that bronc riding they had here the other day. The biggest name that I saw people sharing on Facebook is the Hal boy from over in Winona. And we had world champions and everybody here. And everyone in the area was coming to watch old Jackson Hal ride a bronc.
Did you see where he's up there at Ettenbauer's school now?
Oh, no, I saw he's out of school, but I didn't know that's where he was.
Yeah, sure is.
Oh, that's a good place for him to go.
Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of broncs and stuff, who is bringing all the stock to Claremore this year?
Pete Carr, and that's, quite honestly, that's probably the biggest reason that Claremore, Oklahoma has kind of been put back on the map of the rodeo world is that we made a stock contractor change about 10 years ago and felt like we needed to, and it's been very, very beneficial. I mean, I think we did that. We changed to Pete in 2013, and in 2014 was our first nomination, and we won that Rodeo of the Year deal in the PRCA, and you start winning awards like that, and it just so happened that we got a new city manager in Claremore, and of course he didn't have any idea about what was going on about the rodeo and things, and had a good friend that was on the Ogden Pioneer Days committee, and we're out there. I think it was the third time we actually won the award, so it was probably 2016, and he gets a text message from his buddy that's sitting out there at Las Vegas when we win that, and said, "Congratulations, Claremore just won Rodeo of the Year for the third time." So when we get back to Claremore, he finds me and wants to know about this. So that's what set the wheels in motion to get our community behind our rodeo. And we were still being put on by the Roundup Club, and you're dealing with volunteers and things like that. And as I said, the culture had changed to where it's just really tough to get people to do things because we're all so busy, making a living, and, our kids are important. And if that's not their culture, then, they're not going to sign up to do stuff. And so winning that 3 years, and we realized that, hey, we're elevating this thing, and it's going to take more than selling raffle tickets to get this thing to the next level. And so with the help of our city manager and the county commissioners, and we formed what's called the Rodeo Arena Interlocal Cooperative. It was kind of the first little deal in the state of Oklahoma. It had to go to the Attorney General and be approved, but what that was a combination of city government and county government and the Roundup Club. So there's a 5-member board, and that's what has put an influx of infrastructure dollars into the facility, and we have new lights, new bleachers, new bathrooms. A lot of private donations can come in that way, because when it was a Roundup Club, it was still considered private property. So your county commissioners legally couldn't really help do things out there, nor could your city. But there was a little caveat there that like with the city, we had all these light poles and everything, and they were the only ones that ever had any trucks high enough to work on them. So, you're in a catch-22.
Yes, sir.
That's been the biggest thing that's changed in the last 10 years. Just a lot of improvements to the facility that could never have gotten done with Roundup Club volunteers. And I'm not knocking Roundup Club volunteers. I just mean the simple fact that those people can put an influx of money in it. They know the grant programs and things like that to work with, and then it doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt having a lot of private donations too. So,
Cody, I've seen all those pictures on Facebook. Just they've really upgraded those facilities and the women's bathroom. I mean, I don't know very much, but I know women like a good clean bathroom. They're funny like that.
they are going to be very, very, very surprised this year. I think we have 28 new stalls, and I mean, I'm not sure. We may have some bidets in there.
Well, Jimbo will be sure and go and check them out when we're over there. For sure.
Right.
Let me know how those bidets are working, Jimbo.
I thought you were going to tell me.
Well, the men, we have to settle for the old restrooms.
Right. But a lot of rodeos, all they have is a porta potty, and stuff.
Oh yeah,
This is really nice at Claremore.
yeah, it's going to be great. Let me know how them bidets work out,
I'm
Jimbo.
not going to let you know. I'm not going to try them.
They're not a water fountain to drink out of.
You got to draw a limit somewhere.
I thought, well, ain't this handy? I can take a drink right here while I'm going to the bathroom. But it
is rodeo, Jimbo. You know that somebody is going to probably hook a garden hose up to that bidet and have it filling their trailer.
Right. Borrow the horse out of that.
So what is the schedule of events this year? What's all going on, and when are they going on? Let's let everybody know exactly. Marshall, what's going on?
We'll have the women's slack on Thursday morning.
Okay.
We'll go.
So what all is that going to contain?
The slack on Thursday will be the breakaway roping and the barrel racing.
Really?
And we've got a great turnout on breakaway ropers, which that's probably one of my most favorite events now, just because it's just a great group of girls. But
Well, yeah, it's one of the best watching events there is now. I mean, if you're a roping fan, you love this breakaway roping, and that's Thursday night, you said?
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning? Holy moly.
morning. And there's 120 breakaway ropers, and
You're starting this thing out with a bang.
great turnout. And I think after that,
We'll do the barrel race first, I'm pretty sure, yeah. But
the barrel race.
That's all right.
Yeah. And I think we got 168 barrel racers
Wow.
that morning.
And probably a lot of the top women in the world's going to be there, aren't they? Y'all looked at the list yet?
I've looked at the list. I know I saw Haley Kinzel's name, Emily Beisel.
How many dollars worth of horses are going to be there during that barrel racing and
mercy.
breakaway?
Mercy.
You could pay off the national debt with their value.
I think so.
You think?
Well,
Probably.
probably not. Close. Make a dent in it.
We might have been able to do that a few years ago.
Right.
Wow, the price of those particular two kinds of horses, they are
Exactly.
skyrocketing though,
Exactly.
for sure. You could probably for sure do something pretty big with it, send a rocket into space or something with that money.
For sure.
I know we've got some good hands in the barrel racing, and I know that the breakaway, Marshall can probably allude to that a little more than I can, but I did see some names on there. I just can't remember the girl that's sitting. Is it Angelone? Last name Angelone.
Yeah.
I think she's entered. So she was sitting number one. I'm pretty sure. isn't
She is, and it's the top of the top in the breakaway rope, and it's going to be really good watching.
Who are some of the other hands, the men that people might recognize that's going to be there?
Well, in the bull riding, there's J.B. Mooney. Who else is in the bull riding? Marshall, you
wow.
Kimsey.
Sage
Kimsey.
Kimsey.
Well, actually, Trey.
Trey
I believe.
Kimsey.
I don't believe Sage is entered.
Well, the Kimsey name's coming anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. One of the things I'm tickled about is having 46 of the top 50 steer ropers coming to Claremore.
That's going to be a good steer rope.
It is. It's going to be a good steer roping, especially for us old timers that like to watch it.
And how will you run the match rope? Will that be in between go arounds or?
Yes, it's going to be in between go rounds. I'm not sure exactly if they're going to do in between the second and third or exactly which ones, but it's going to be within the roping.
Right.
And I'm sure we'll probably do the final of that before the last round of the PRCA steer roping. The third round.
Thursday morning is the breakaway and the barrel racing. What about Thursday afternoon?
We'll have the street dance and the rodeo, pre-rodeo festivities, I guess you'd call it. They'll have street dance,
The
food
kickoff.
trucks, the kickoff party for the Claremore Rodeo will be downtown.
Oh, wow.
They close a section of Will Rogers Boulevard there in Claremore and have a bunch of food trucks come out, and we'll have a mechanical bull downtown in front of Cabin Boys Brewery, and there's Oklahoma Pizza down there, and it's just kind of a fun time. Live music. I'm not sure who's playing, but you can get you a beer. You can walk around downtown with a beer. So
Garth Brooks might be there. Don't he have a house not too far from there? He could make a special appearance. Who knows?
yeah.
Probably
you never
not,
know.
but he might.
You never know. Marshall Perkins may be singing. I'm not
That's
real
right.
sure.
There you go.
That'll be the
need a triangle
closing
player,
party
let
to
me
get
know.
everybody out of there. Sound like sirens going off.
Yeah, I can play an innie or outie. Like that, or a ting on the out. I'm really one of the greatest triangle players to ever come down the pike, to be honest with you. Supper time's what I go by.
I remember that in Miss Crawford's 6th grade band class.
Yeah.
Play the triangle.
I decided to specialize in it. Not too many people do, David. All right, I'm sorry. Thursday night's the big kickoff party. Downtown, street dance, plenty of beer to drink, plenty of dancing to do, lots of good eating, lots of good
Oh yeah, they'll
camaraderie amongst a lot of like-minded people. It's going to be a good time.
They'll have 16, 20 food trucks down there, and there'll be 4,000 or 5,000 people converge on downtown Claremore from 6 o'clock to 10, I believe, is what the hours are. So
Sounds like a good time. You going, Jimbo?
Yes. I know I'm going Saturday.
What about Friday? What's going on, Marshall?
That'll be the men's slack Friday morning.
Okay.
With breakaway, tie down, steer wrestling, team roping.
Okay.
We've got 60 teams, team roping, right at 80 calf ropers.
Wow.
Right at 80 steer wrestlers.
That's a big slack. 2 big slacks, 2 mornings in a row. That's going to take a while.
Hopefully we'll have it knocked out by noon, 1 o'clock.
What time are y'all starting?
9.
9.
That's wishful thinking, but that's the Gwatney and
So you're
myself.
You're thinking an hour per event.
We're
I guess. Going to run 80 calf ropers.
Well, close.
That's
We're done by
that's
2.
total
entries.
That's total entries. Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll only have in slack we'll only wind up with about 50 or so calf ropers. So because we'll take 30 out of that, but for
Who's some of the names in the men's that you're thinking? Some of the top guys entered in the calf roping,
Oh man,
team roping.
I know my pick, but I got him kind of partial to him. The local boys riding I'd like to say mine, but he's been riding my wife's filly. Austin Lawrence, he's having a great year. Won the Prairie Circuit last year.
Oh yeah, he's on a roll.
He's doing really well. And there was quite a few of the top 15 in the tie down rope, and I'd have to go back exactly through the sheet. I should have got
Yeah, a ton of them will be there, no doubt. If you're a calf roping fan, team roping fan, or a bulldogging fan, I'd go catch that slack Friday morning. It doesn't get any better than that.
Taylor Santos, California, Kendra's boy Taylor, he's in the steer roping, and that's another thing, steer roping. He's a calf roper, so he's going to get in both of them. So he'll be up.
Friday morning's the big slack. What about Friday afternoon, Marshall? Anything?
Perf. Friday afternoon, we'll take a break, kind of get everything set. We'll
Get
roll right
rested
into
up for the
perf.
night.
Let me clarify something. Friday afternoon is nap time
Okay.
in the trailer hood.
Yes, sir.
So you have to have your nap in because you're getting ready for your performance, and those gates are opening at 6. So hopefully we'll be done plenty of time to get that nap in.
Yes, sir. Well, good luck on that. I think they're going to be napping the next week sometime, Jimbo.
Oh,
they ain't going to
yeah.
have any time to nap during this deal.
That's right. Going to be too busy.
Perf starts at 6. The festivities before the rodeo, the mutton busting, all the fun events to watch, they're going to be right before the rodeo, and the perf starts at 8.
Correct.
You guys got to dance afterwards or anything?
No dancing afterwards at the facility. However, the Racino, the Cherokee Nation Racino out Will Rogers Downs, what they call the Dog Iron Saloon out there, that's open. I'm not sure who they have playing, but they have live music. And that's kind of the after party for the rodeo nowadays.
Perfect. All right, let's go to the big one now. Saturday morning. What's going on?
We're roping steers. We're roping a lot of steers.
How many steer ropers do we have?
80
Wow.
of the top steer ropers in the world. I mean,
All the top steer ropers in the
every
world's
one
going to
of
be
them,
there.
They're there.
It's a big rodeo. $10,000 added. Steer roping. I saw y'all named it the steer roping portion after old Clem, it looks like.
We've called it the Tub Handle Classic. Of course, the tub handle was Clem's brand.
Okay.
Looks like a upside down, or not an upside down, a turned down C. Clem's brand used to go right in the middle of the rib cage on the left hand side.
Gotcha.
So a lot of folks always just thought that was a C, but it's
That's the tub
actually
handle.
it's the tub handle, and so that's what we've named it.
Jimbo, what kind of history you got on old Clem McSpadden for us today?
Oh, Cody, he was of course, Will Rogers was a great nephew to begin with. He was born and raised right over in that country, Rogers County. He was a Navy veteran. He started announcing, I don't know, in the late 40s. He announced for probably 30 years. You know, he was a state representative for 20 years or so. And then he actually had a term as a state senator. Ran for governor, almost got the Democratic nomination for governor one time. And just a great friend of rodeo. I mean, steer ropers in particular, you know, but he was all of rodeo. He managed the NFR for like 18 years or something. I mean, he was the face of rodeo for 25, 30 years.
Yeah, he was the main man that brought the NFR, I think, to Oklahoma City, wasn't he?
Probably. I'm sure he had
He was.
I think to this day they even still name the steer roping national finals the Clem McSpadden
right.
National Final Steer Roping.
Correct.
Right.
What do you know about him, David? What's something about Clem that you'd like to share with everybody? Because he was such an icon in the sport.
Oh, yeah.
And the state.
Well, it's probably not a whole lot I can tell a bunch of rodeo folks in Oklahoma. You know, if you're a true rodeo hand, you've been around rodeo most of your life, you know Clem McSpadden. And a lot of people say it, but he was like a second dad to me. Him and my dad were about the same age. Clem passed away in 2008. My dad passed away in 2006. And lots of conversations there at the old office in Chelsea. My little ranch is up north of Chelsea, and so I'd stop in there in the mornings and have coffee with him and sit on that park bench out front of the office there, and just had, you know, you just soaked up all the stories he'd tell you. And he was that way. He knew, you know, of course, he knew the lineage of every contestant, you know, like you. He'd talk about your dad and you, and there's just not, I mean, announcers are great nowadays, but there was something about Clem announcing rodeos that you just felt like, well, that's my grandpa, or, you know, or
Yeah.
and it just kind of
He knew their horses. He knew
their
their wives. You know, just everything. You know.
I grew up listening to him too. He's the voice of my him and old Kurt Robinson. They're the voice of my pretty much entire life, to be honest with you.
When I was young, why it was Clem McSpadden.
But don't kid yourself, he could make up a lot of stories too on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, I remember he would go off and not even talking anything about the roping, you know, and just go off and have a full blown teaching everybody a little something right there at the rope, and then he'd tell you the score in the OU game going on or the OSU game going on. So
I remember one morning, I can't remember the year, but he called the house and I answered the phone, and he wanted to talk to my grandfather. And it was early in the morning, and he told him that Everett Shaw had died. He was calling people, you know. Of course, my grandpa and Everett were real close, and he had died suddenly on the operating table, and I never will forget that.
he's one of the greats.
He's
Clem McSpadden.
truly missed in the rodeo world, especially with us Oklahomans.
We have his Ben Johnson Award back here in the back that he received at the Cowboy Hall of Fame, you know, a number of years back.
Right.
But they had the big auction of all of his personal belongings here a couple of years ago, I think. And we were lucky to pick that up and a few other nice mementos
I
out
made
of it.
my wife pay that bill.
Holy moly. That last hour of that auction, that stuff really started showing its value for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was at a rodeo in Gooding, Idaho, and but I was on that auction.
Yep. It was a good auction.
And a lot of that stuff, most of that stuff that was in that auction came out of the office. And quite honestly, Clem's office was like a museum. It
no
really
doubt.
was. With all the pictures and things that he had. And, we talked about how long he announced. The Will Rogers Stampede, we bought him a saddle and presented him with a saddle. It had to have been probably about 2004, maybe. I believe it was 2004, for 60 years of announcing Claremore's Rodeo.
Wow.
And he had announced it well over 60 years. So, and actually, I think Claremore, he passed away in July of 2008. And I believe Claremore of 2008 was the last pro rodeo that he announced. I don't think he announced any after that.
What a great friend to rodeo. What a great friend to steer roping in particular.
For sure.
Old Clem McSpadden was,
He
no doubt.
Loved to watch a good horse work.
He actually tried roping steers for a while. He did rope steers for a while. I've seen pictures of him roping right out here at the fairgrounds in Pawhuska.
Really?
Roped calves in college.
No kidding.
I'm pretty
Bulldogged a
did.
little bit, I think.
Roped calves and played basketball in college.
Well, he was a character. He actually helped me out financially a couple of times growing up, and by paying my fees at a few rodeos, and very, very much appreciated. I was supposed to give him, half the winnings but I didn't win enough hardly. He didn't make out very good on that deal. It was a bad investment on his part, Jimbo.
Can't win them all.
So, back to Saturday morning. We kind of veered off of it for a minute. Clem McSpadden, tub handle, Oklahoma's world's richest steer roping. So, when's it kick off? What's going on that morning?
And we're going to have the breakfast in Calcutta starting that morning at 8 o'clock.
Is there a charge to get in? Is the breakfast for a charge to eat? What's going on?
The breakfast is free, but you get in with your ticket.
Okay.
If you buy a ticket, you get breakfast and come. We're going to do breakfast till about probably 9:30 or so. Roping starts at 10.
Okay.
Melanie and we'll be doing the Calcutta, and hopefully, we haven't had a Calcutta in Claremore in a few years, so hopefully we can get some guys there to enjoy that. And
Well, yeah, it's a way to get involved a little bit. It's a way to help out the roping a little bit, the rodeo. I'm sure they're making it's a little fundraiser for them, and it's a way to get involved a little bit. Way to cheer someone on, Jimbo. If
It's
you got
a lot
a little
more fun watch a roping if you got a little money invested.
exactly.
Or it can be not fun too.
Well,
goes
it's a lot
both
more
ways.
interesting that
It's more
way
interesting.
anyway.
we're hoping, we're going to have. We've got some things planned around that breakfast. We've got some gals making a Bloody Mary bar.
Ooh.
So we're going to try to have some fun. Probably do calisthenics, jumping jacks, so them guys learn to get their hands up a little bit, make them bids. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be kind of a long Saturday, but Marshall alluded to our arena director John Gwatney. He'll keep it moving pretty good. He does the NFR breakaway, and he does the steer roping for the finals. So
Yeah, actually, there's not a finer group of people. I assume you all have his wife Sandy as the secretary.
Yes.
It's a great husband-wife combo, actually, Jimbo. John is a great arena director. He runs the timed event shoots extremely well. That's what he's known for. He does the national finals. He does a lot of the big ropings out there, and particularly steer ropings. And his wife does a lot of the secretarian of all the big steer ropings too, old Sandy. So yeah, they do have the best of the best there running that deal.
it's that's one of the things that's kind of, in my opinion, and several others, has set Car Pro Rodeo to that level, is because Pete believes in professionalism, and he has it not just in John and Sandy, but really and truly in everybody that works for him, his partner Billy. And it's nice having the same crew come back to Ponca City year after year, and you're not everybody knows where everything's at, and you're not finding yourself telling them, well, that's up there, you got the hay's over here, and I mean, you just don't have to worry about that kind of thing. They come in, they all, Pete Car Crew is just, it's just amazing, honestly. That's what I can say about that.
Yeah, they're a great crew. When we had steer roping cattle, Jimbo, when me and my dad were traveling with those, we did a lot of Pete's rodeos, and they were always a great crew to work for, really on top of their stuff, And
I want to add, too, to that, Cody, we've got a great stock contractor with a great crew, but another little level that we've done is Marshall kind of takes care of our volunteer crew, and from the guys that we've got helping untie calves and steers, because you stop and think about it. Think about all the runs that are in Claremore. It's not just a little 20 extra runs.
240 just in the steer rope, but not including the match, Jimbo.
Right.
And Marshall, that's one of the things that he's really helped us out on that. We've got some key players that help us with that, that we count on year after year, and took a lot of stress off of me just trying. How everybody is. Let's find some FFA kids. Well,
yeah.
Guess what? At the end of May, they're out of school, and they ain't really wanting to do anything but go be FFA kids.
They want to go to Lake that weekend.
Exactly.
Those kids. But yeah, one of the most thankless jobs in rodeo is the untie crew, the sort crew, the load crew, the strip and shoot crew. Those are the real backbone behind the whole deal.
You got to have them.
You can't have them.
To do it.
I mean, they're all the way down to opening the chute gate for the roping.
Right.
And having the ones you can count on.
For sure. For sure. I tried like heck to get fired from some of them jobs before, and I couldn't get fired. That was the problem. They were used to the bad help, I guess, at that time, Jimbo. And
even at your worst, you're still better than the bad help.
Once you become shoot help or untie crew, it's hard to get fired from that, Jimbo. Right. I tried, but they got a good crew over there. Luckily, they ain't got a bunch of me's running around helping them out. So we got 3 rounds of steer roping. We got the match between the 2 world champs, Scott Snedeker, J. Tom. That's gonna be a good match.
Oh yeah.
We're calling it the Arizona Grudge match because they actually had a match out in Wickenburg.
Okay.
And
I knew they were supposed to. I didn't know if they had it or not.
And I believe that Scott won that, so we're calling it J. Tom's Wickenburg Grudge match. So he wants redeemed, I'm sure.
J. Tom's one of my good friends, known him my whole life. That's a tough match. That's a tough match right there. He's got on his hands with Scott Snedeker. Scott Snedeker is a beast. He's got the reach. He's got the roping. He can get his hands on him quicker than J. Tom. But J. Tom pulled out a world championship too last year. So,
and with $5,000 up for grabs, winner take all, they're going to be out for blood.
And Scott's been on a roll. He might be due for a cool off too, or he might just get hotter. Who knows?
You never know what's going to happen in a match, Rogan.
So many. I'm going to go with something Clem would say. There's many intangibles in a match roping.
Yep.
For sure. God, that's going to be a good match roping. You don't get to see 2 world championship caliber guys go head to head. Fastest guy wins very often anymore. They used to be pretty darn commonplace, but they're not anymore.
No.
A head to head match roping.
Right.
I'm pumped up to watch it, Jimbo.
Me too.
So what else we got on Saturday? It's going to take most of the day Saturday, I'm assuming, to run this off.
Yeah, there probably won't be any nap time on Saturday. That's why we need to make sure we get that in good on Friday, because we're going to go right from that steer roping right into the Saturday night performance, with the gates probably staying open at 6. And it's the same routine for Saturday night with the rodeo. The mutton busting, and then something we didn't really talk about in our pre-rodeo entertainment this year that's kind of new is we've actually got some mini bulls. We're going to buck a few mini bulls for the little kids. They've got, they've started this deal. They've got walk and trot for like under 6 that actually get on a bull, and we're going to do that as pre-rodeo entertainment also.
Oh, wow.
So we've got 6 or 8 of those guys that they did a little mini bull series over at Claremore, and there again, Kelly, if you're listening, we had a qualifier, so those kids get a little berth into the Stampede.
And they got a mutton buster qualifier, a junior mini bull qualifier, and they got another qualifier going on too.
Exactly.
So running simultaneous with their steer roping, there's actually a qualifier for our Ben Johnson steer roping we're having here in Pawhuska, the 69th annual. They're 77, we're 69th.
And how's that going to work, the qualifier for the Ben Johnson?
Well, the top 30, they're already automatically in. They got to buy in the whole world to get into the Ben Johnson roping. And thankfully, Claremore allowed us to act as our qualifier for our roping. So the top 2 guys out of each go-round that's not already in the top 30, and the top 4 guys out of the average, which makes 10 wild cards is what I'm going to call them, out of Claremore, gets to go for the big money at the Ben Johnson roping on Father's Day.
Cool.
I think it's a great collaborative effort. I mean, a great partnership really between the ropers. I don't see where it hurts us at all. So,
well, we sure appreciate you guys allowing us to do that. And actually, we're just trying to keep the Ben Johnson steer roping going here, moving forward for another 69 years. So
you bet.
That's what we're trying to do here. Same thing you guys are trying to do with your rodeo,
exactly.
I'm sure.
Exactly.
It's the 2 top paying steer opens, in my opinion, probably the 2 top paying steer opens in the whole U.S.
They both got
team up together and do some stuff together, and that's helping grow the sport. And
they both have an over a $40,000 purse, right here, about less than a few weeks apart, right here in Oklahoma. That's great. You're going to be able to see the best of the best of the best. I mean,
and when you say 40,000, that's just the payout in the steer roping. Claremore's rodeo, the Stampede that thing's probably going to pay out. I believe that will be well over 150,000.
Oh yeah,
total payout this year. I think we were about 135 or something like that last year. So, adding the extra money, we may be 160.
What's the total budget to put on a rodeo of the scale of Claremore there?
And that I think I maybe alluded to that a little earlier when we formed the cooperative and thing like that. It made it easier for some folks to raise those funds. And of course, if you set this level up here that this is where you want to be in a few years, and you start working towards those goals, where our rodeo as a roundup club was taking about 100,000 to put on, and you keep elevating it, you win something, and you want to build on that. The next year it was 120 to put on, and I'll just tell you right now, we're probably we set a budget, but it takes about 145 to put this thing together.
Yeah.
So you've got to raise the sponsorship dollars, and the other part of that is you got to give those sponsors what they're paying for.
Hey, let's give them something now. Who's some of your big sponsors? I don't know if our audience can help them out any. Won't y'all do that? Who's some of the big sponsors y'all have this year?
The RCB Bank has helped a bunch.
I've got to cheat because I don't want to leave anybody out. And, in fact, RCB Bank, which has made a big statement in Oklahoma, and not just Oklahoma, I think they've got some in Arkansas now. And that's been a big shot in the arm, and getting people with the bank involved in our committee, to help with things. A lady by the name of Sarah takes care of our tickets, and it's kind of nice having a banker taking care of your tickets. So that's always a plus. But sponsors, man, you just couldn't do it without them. And of course, we have a few of the national sponsors like RAM and Justin Sports Medicine coming to Claremore, and but our local sponsors be like Melton, Dodge and Chrysler over there, but Regent Bank and Midtown Rental, which is an equipment rental place, just to name a few, the Cherokee Casino, the Grand River Dam Authority, Stillwater Milling, the other banks in town, Bank First and Reading Truck Body, the utility beds that go on trucks. There's a manufacturing plant over there at Claremore, and Ditch Witch, Froman Oil, Mays County Processing. The list just goes on and on. I mean, Boot Barn's a national sponsor. Blue Lake Services. We sell everything we can possibly sell.
Yes, sir.
As a sponsorship, chute gates down to the out gates and shuttle service. We even sell a sponsorship on koozies. So water bottles and things like that. When you're dealing with this kind of dollars, to put an event on, it takes it.
Oh yeah. What is the Justin Sports Medicine outfit? What is that for everybody that doesn't know? 'Cause we got a lot of people that don't go to rodeos every day that listens to this.
Justin Sports Medicine, and I'll just tell you how they work it here for Claremore, and we're happy to have them back. It's been several years since there's only so many rodeos that they can go to, but they go nationwide. They have a big trailer, and they'll send a medical team, and a doctor that takes care of the contestants, and if somebody pulls a muscle or something like that, they help them get wrapped up, or they'll take a look at it. And they've got some pretty nice rigs, air conditioned to where they can get in there, and it's nice having them, on site along with your first responders and that type of thing. Everybody's seen the doctors on TV like Dr. Tandy and all that. That's all part of the Justin Sports Medicine team, and can't thank old Tom Feller enough. He got Claremore got us a guy coming. I'm not sure exactly who we have, but I'm looking forward to it. And it's an added plus for the contestants.
A lot of these guys are banged up when they get there, and they need a little bit of help getting taped up the right way and some stuff, just so they can try to win some money when they get there. And I just also thought, the rodeo's not over on Saturday night, is it?
No.
You guys got a Sunday.
Sunday night perf also.
Because it is Memorial Weekend. No one
Correct.
has to work on Monday. Yeah, we just about left that one out, Jimbo.
Right.
Sunday, what's all going
people.
on? You guys got any slack on Sunday?
No, that is actually a day of rest. Sunday is a day of rest till that night.
Who picks up all the trash after the rodeo each
Well, that's
night?
the Monday crew.
That's the Monday crew.
And you're heading that up, I'm pretty sure, Cody.
We got to go from Saturday night and have it clean for Sunday. You're going to have to be out there picking up trash all day long on Sunday.
Exactly. And, that's part of the Will Rogers Roundup Club. And they do that, and they're tickled to do it. They take care of our bathrooms, and they're going to be tickled with the new bathrooms because it's going to be a lot easier. And the trash pickup, our youth in the play day group, they have a pretty strong play day series over there through the summer, and those kids and parents get work points for doing things like that, and they'll that contributes to their work points and their year-end awards and things that they give the little kids. And they have a pretty big following of young kids, 10 and under. There's quite a few of them, and that's exciting to see. Really, the fact that there's so many lead liners and things like that are getting, parents buying those kids a babysitter.
Oh yeah,
things like that. So that's a good deal for the volunteer club.
All right. I thought it was David Marshall probably out there all day on Sunday getting ready for that Sunday night.
For a long time it was.
They'd be wore out by then.
Holy moly.
That's one, you're alluding to things there that every rodeo committee experiences, and who's pulling down all your banners, and you got to get those things down and get them rolled up so you can hang on to them for the next year or get them back to the sponsor or whatever the case may be. And there's just lots of things like that right there that people don't think about, When you buy the general ticket buying public, you buy that ticket and you go in there, and like I said, the circus has come to town.
Pretty much. I'll tell you the worst restrooms I went into, Jimbo. Cheyenne, if you're camped out there as a contestant, they got a set of bathrooms that the contestants use to take showers in and stuff if you're camped out. But also the carnies from the carnival, they come over there and use it. And I don't know if it was the Cowboys or the carnies, but mixed together is the worst hygiene I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
It looks like they've been taking the horses in there and washing them off or something. Right. I don't know what's going on there, but God help those people that clean those bathrooms. Jeez.
Life is fun in the trailer hood.
Yeah, for sure. David, what do you do when you're not getting ready for the rodeo in Claremore? What do you do for a living?
Well, I've got a little small place up north of Chelsea, up in Craig County, and run a few cows, and like everybody else, stay busy doing something. Main thing, I guess you could say, is must have been about 08 or so. No, Clem was still alive, so it must have been about 06 or 05, maybe somewhere in there. Wife and I purchased our first little scoreboard when the U.S. smokeless thing went south for rodeo committees, and so we wound up, my buddy over at Ponca City talked me into getting one bought, and I'll say his name, old Brad Beatty, used to be the chairman over at 101. We were talking, and he said, well, you could buy one of those for $7,000 or $8,000, and about $50,000 that year later, I was in the business, and so we got started in the scoreboard business, and I was still working for an energy company here in Oklahoma, and had a long career with them, and so my wife was hauling that scoreboard around the country, and next thing you know, Clem McSpadden's telling me that he's going to buy me a globe because I might jump from Helena, Montana, back down to Dodge City, and so that was kind of a standing joke. But at that time, I was just getting in the business and taking everything we could possibly take, and as long as she had to do the driving and get there, it didn't really bother me any. So,
did you have to haul a camera crew around with you? How did you?
Not back then. Back then, it was just basically a scoring board.
Yes.
You could.
Oh, I remember those for sure.
You didn't have video. You could put like a sponsor's logo up on it. It
just had the name of the contestant, where they're from, and what the score was gonna. It was a 0 at the time, but you put a score up there.
You could put a running time clock up there. Pretty simple. Basically all the graphics that you see on a video board now, it took a whole board to do that, to just do the graphics that you'd see, like the numbers and all of that. So, but anyway, that's probably our bread and butter. And I think it's contributed to our success with Claremore is, so many people on a committee see one rodeo a year.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if getting your eyes on all those other different rodeos and how other different people do different things, if that helped out Claremore.
I thought I was going to get off in that real big. And like I said, I think we actually started in 2006, so however many years that is.
It don't seem like it's that long ago, but gosh dang,
this is 23, so.
Holy moly, that's like 17, 18 years ago.
So, back 2017, 2018, I had a couple of crews. Actually had 3 scoreboards going up and down the road, and wife and I'd go one direction, or wife would go one direction, I'd go another direction. My boy'd take one down to Louisiana or something like that, and it's stressful when you're doing it like that, and you're just an old poor Osage County kid, and so you've got your own business, you want to take care of that thing, and it helps. So it help. I really feel like it's helped. Like you said, you get to see so many different aspects. What they're doing in Salmon, Idaho doesn't necessarily work in Claremore, Oklahoma, or Ponca City, Oklahoma. So,
but they might have one little thing they do there, be like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's been staring me in the face this whole time, and this is the way they've always done it up here at Salmon."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think it's definitely good to probably see how other people do things, know, and you're in the rodeo business, you know who to hire, and you know who works the best because you've worked with everybody too. I think that has a lot to do with it. Has to have a lot to do with it, whether you know it or not.
Exactly. Yeah. We work with a lot of, and speaking of that, I want to mention that John Harrison's coming to Claremore, Rodeo Act of the Year.
Oh yeah,
comedian, Freckle Brown's grandson.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He last time I saw him, he had a good car act. I don't know if he still has that thing or not.
It just depends. You never know what he's going to bring, but his trick riding act is. And I'll tell you what, John's got a new act that I think the people are going to like, involving a horse. It evolves. If you're going to stay in this business, you've got to stay with it, and you've got to think of new things. And we're proud to have John coming. We've got the Broken Spoke Clydesdales coming out of Wichita.
Oh, nice.
That's a crowd pleaser. Folks like to see those big horses. So,
what about JB Mooney? You said he's entered. Is he going to be doing any?
Up Saturday night.
Is he going to do an autograph signing
Saturday
or anything
night
for everybody, or at least we'll get a chance to watch one of the living legends? That's going to be like one of these days. You got to see Casey Tibbs ride or something. You got to actually see JB Mooney ride in person.
Wouldn't that be cool to have lived back then and seen Casey Tibbs and flamboyancy and.
Oh yeah, me and Jimbo get off on all that kind of stuff all the time. We're like, what would this guy do now? With the cattle they're roping now, or Casey Tibbs.
Well, how big a star? I mean, he was the biggest star in rodeo back then, but what would he be today with the Cowboy Channel and everything, and those purple shirts and the bandana and just the whole deal?
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. I think JB Mooney's about one of the closest we got. He's a true cowboy. I feel like Jimbo. Yeah. I don't know him by any means, but I see how he rolls.
Right.
I see how he rolls.
He's likable.
Kind of like it.
I like watching him.
For sure.
We've got some good names in the bull riding coming. JB kind of stands out, and we've talked to him, and I'm pretty sure he's planning on being here. So
we had to stick Sarah Lynn on him, but he coming.
So the in the bronc riding and stuff, we've got the Crawley brothers and Tanner Oss in the bareback. He's be going to look for a repeat championship of Stampede. I think Tanner's sitting about 4th or 5th in the bareback riding right now. So maybe I believe he's 4th or 5th somewhere in there. But
everybody you watch on the Cowboy Channel, they're going to be there in every event.
Big names. Big rodeo.
How much
Osage kid entered?
How much time do you guys spend out throughout the year working on this one rodeo?
Honestly, for me as chairman and in my involvement with the PRCA and I serve on the what they call the Executive Rodeo Committee Council. I'm in that at-large representative for all the committees across the nation. But it's 365 days a year for me, and it's probably 362 days for Marshall, because the other 3 days he's just probably mad as heck at me. So,
well, one of these days you're going to be too old to do all this, David, and you're going to have someone do what you do.
Yeah, amen. That's, I think, like May 30th. Probably is when I'm turning too old.
No, I don't think you're going to get out that easy, for sure. For sure. Well, Jimbo, you got anything else for these guys today?
Well, just want to tell everybody to come out. We need to support these local rodeos. It's a great rodeo, one of the best in the country. And rodeo in general is just one of the last sports where it's still just good, clean, family fun. They'll play the national anthem. They'll stand for it. It'll just be, it's just a great sport, and it needs to be supported.
It's the best sport I know of.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. What about you guys? You want to add anything else before we go? Marshall, what do you do when you're not working on the rodeo committee? I didn't ask you. I'm sorry, man.
Anymore, I think I'm just a full-time wrestling and baseball dad. But
I hear you. We're 7 days a week driving these girls to ballet and softball and junior play days, and holy moly. I don't remember doing this much stuff when I was a kid.
We own and operate a family ranch. We've had it since the early 1900s, and my wife and my mom, uncle were all on the same ranch. It's kind of a pretty cool little deal. And then in my part-time, I'm actually VP for a large equipment and construction company out of Florida.
Nice.
Well, I think it's at Blue Lake Service, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. You got to take care of them.
Major sponsor.
Yeah.
Major sponsor of the rodeo. And they help Marshall pay his bills, too.
Exactly. So. Well, hey, guys, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate getting to do this and visit with you guys and talk about some old times and promote Claremore and the Will Rogers Stampede. There's a couple other great rodeos coming up here in Oklahoma. 101 over here at Ponca City, and Woodward's coming up. 101 and Woodward's actually the same weekend, I believe. And a lot of, rodeo's a family. It really is. And a lot of us know all of us. And
it's a pretty close family.
Exactly. So the other thing I want to say is, man, I'm
the cousin Eddie of the family, Jimbo.
Right, well, I knew that.
The cousin Eddie of rodeo. That's the good one right there.
Cousin Eddie of rodeo.
We're going to have to remember that.
Everybody knew that. You didn't have to say that.
The cousin Eddie of rodeo.
There we go.
Who's your pick to win the steer open, and who's your sleeper?
Well, like I said, Scott Snedeker, that's going to be a tough one to fade right now because he's on a major heater. I think he's won about every major steer roping coming into Claremore right now. Holy moly, he won the Nationals. Did he win the National Circuit Finals? Yeah. Won the National Circuit Finals, just won Guyman the other day. You got to look really hard at Scott Snedeker. Sleeper, holy moly, in the steer open event, there could be a slew of sleepers in that. I haven't really looked at the complete list, but, I wouldn't necessarily call him a sleeper, but he's not in the top 50 right now. Old Brady Garden. I don't know if he's entered or not. He's an Osage County boy.
I don't think Brady entered.
He's not. I picked the one guy that's
Shorty did.
That is a sleeper.
Well, Shorty.
He is a sleeper.
Yeah, Brady's great.
But, we'll be going. I'll be taking a strong, hard look at that list for that Calcutta, just in case I can talk Jimbo into partnering on one.
There you go.
So.
There you go.
But Scott Snedeker right now, he's the hottest man in steer roping right now, Jimbo. And he's really tough to fade. I don't know if Coleman Proctor entered this one or not, but you know what? That guy is really coming on his steer roping. He's in the back part of the top 30 right there, Jimbo. I know he's wanting to get qualified for the Ben Johnson roping right there. So that guy right there, that's one to watch coming up because he's got such a great horn loop, and I haven't really watched him tie too many steers, Jimbo, but I'm excited to watch to see where he's come the last couple of years in the steer roping. He dang near won Cheyenne last year almost.
I know.
Won the
Won
first
all
2
around,
go-rounds.
yeah.
So I'm really, really excited to watch Coleman Proctor and see the progress that he's got coming along because as good as he ropes, holy moly, he ought to be getting close to really, really winning something big in the steer roping event. So Scott Snedeker, Coleman Proctor's the dark horse in this one for me, if you can call that someone like that a dark horse. But
Yeah,
it isn't
really.
it isn't his number one event, but it might be before his career's over the way it's looking. That's my 2
Sound
dark
pretty
horse.
good.
That's my 2 picks, Jimbo.
Sounds good to me.
Today.
Is Joe Beaver up in the team roping?
He is.
Did he get up
He's
in a
roping
perf?
with
Or,
Levi Pettigrew in the perf.
Wow.
yeah, Joe B's there.
Well, he's not gonna
Wife is in the barrel racing.
swing for very long before he throws old Joe B.
Neither's Levi.
That's a team to watch in the team roping right there. One of the greatest. I talked about J.B. Mooney and possibly getting a chance to watch one of the greatest bull riders, rough stock guys to ever live. Hey, watching Joe Beaver rope, especially in a pro rodeo nowadays, he ain't going to be roping too much longer, folks. And he's already a living legend.
Exactly.
And you're not going to get a chance to watch a guy like Joe Beaver very many times in life anymore, rope. So that's a big name right there.
Yep.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We can't wait. We'll see everybody there next week.
Come get a Bloody Mary on Saturday morning. Some breakfast.
Yep, I'm gonna be dipping hard in them Bloody Marys, Jimbo.
Aren't you gonna be driving?
Yeah, well, never mind.
Not till late. Not till later. After the nap.
I'm just kidding. I don't drink anymore anyway, so.
Probably a good thing.
But I'm probably gonna have at least one of them.
They'll make you a virgin one.
Probably have at least one of them, Jimbo, just to make sure it's a good tasting one.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for coming.
Well, this has been the Cousin Eddie at Rodeo. See y'all later next week. Be sure and like and subscribe, and we appreciate everybody that watches. Come to
do.
Claremore.
Yes.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.